Gabrielle, are you there? I heard the news from Rick you're moving abroad with your husband with him, being stationed away from work?
Hey, Barbara. Yep, you heard right. How is Rick taking the news? I'm sure you know this being married to him and all, but my brother's never been good with surprises. He suddenly stopped responding to my messages when I told him I wanted him to look out for our mom while I was gone.
I see. I'm not that surprised. I'm sure you know this better than anyone, but he's never particularly been the kind of guy to go out of his way to do things for others. He hasn't done anything for your mom up until now, so the idea of him suddenly having all that responsibility foisted on him at a moment's notice probably rubbed him up the wrong way.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I'm not gonna pretend I expected much from him, but I didn't think he'd just outright ignore me like this. He doesn't seem to have any intention of helping out at all. He almost never shows his face at the family home. Oh, what am I saying? Sorry, Barbara, I know it's not fair of me to go bad-mouthing your husband like this.
Don't be silly. I love Rick, but I know exactly what you mean. Speaking frankly, just between you and me, I've always wished he would show more of an interest in his family. It would have been nice to see more of a reaction when he found out his little sister would be moving abroad. Actually, any reaction at all would have been nice. I mean, who even knows when you'll be back? I so wish he'd do more for your mom too. She raised you guys for crying out loud. The least he could do is make more of an effort with her while you're away. Besides, it's not like you're asking him to move in and be her live-in carer or anything, right?
Right, of course not. Our mom lives alone, and her mobility isn't what it used to be. But she can still more or less look after herself. All I wanted was for him to show his face at the house once a week to check up on how she's doing. I made that clear, but he left me on red.
But Gabby, let's be real here. Your brother's never really been the type to look out for other people, has he? You're probably better off just giving up. I sometimes feel like the only thing he actually cares about is the casino. He rushes down there like a man possessed on every single one of his days off.
He's still gambling? I told him he had to stop that back when he got himself into debt. Oh, Barbara, I'm so sorry.
It's fine, sweetie. You have nothing to apologize for. He promised me he'd only do it in moderation this time, and borrowing money is strictly prohibited.
I see. I guess it's not that bad then. At least, not as bad as before. But in that case, it seems unlikely I'm going to be able to trust him to look after our mom while I'm gone.
Right, agreed. At the very least, she's fine getting around the house and cooking for herself, isn't she? But you've been taking her out for her hospital appointments and to buy groceries in your car for a long time, right? I understand she's going to struggle without you, but at the same time, that's a huge amount of responsibility for us to take on all of a sudden. Besides, she doesn't exactly live close by. The cost of living is skyrocketing right now, not to mention how much a tank of gasoline costs these days.
Barbara, I hope you don't think I expect you guys to do this for free. Of course, I planned on giving Rick the money to cover everything he and my mom would need to look after her.
Oh, really? You did?
Yes, there's no way I'd let you guys cover the burden. I'm the one asking for the favor here after all. Plus, I know what Rick's like. He's never had much of a part in Mom's life since moving out, so I didn't expect him to take all this on out of the goodness of his heart at a moment's notice. But you're right, it is a lot to ask of you, and I totally understand if you can't or don't want to. Don't worry, I'll think of another way. There are all sorts of companies offering services to help and support elderly people living on their own these days. It shouldn't be too hard to find something.
No, hold on a second, Pumpkin. Let me try speaking to Rick one last time. I'll see if I can get some sense into that thick skull of his.
Wow, really? You do that? Are you sure?
To tell you the truth, Gabby, I've always felt a little guilty seeing you do so much for your mom while your brother just carried on going about his life like she didn't exist. He's her eldest son, and I'm his wife. I feel a sense of duty to his family, and I want to help.
Oh, thanks a bunch, Barbara. And I'm sorry. It was never my intention to inconvenience you like this. I'm sure you're super busy, and this is the last thing you need.
On the contrary, don't you think this could be the perfect opportunity? Your mom's so lovely, she'd do anything for you and your brother. And in actual fact, I've lost count on how many pinches she's gotten him out of by this point. If anyone's been an inconvenience, it's Rick. If you ask me, he owes her a debt of gratitude, and it's only right that he repays it.
Well, yeah, I can't say I disagree. In fact, I'm with you 100%. But if he has no intention of doing it of his own volition, I can't deny the idea of you convincing him to do it against his will is also a little worrying.
Don't worry, I can be very persuasive when I want to be. Besides, I'll be there to help him support your mom every step of the way. Leave the rest to me, okay, Pumpkin?
Okay, I will. Sorry again, Barbara. I owe you big time for this one. I'm counting on you to convince my brother to do the right thing.
Hey, Gabby, not long now. You're flying off to Thailand tomorrow, right? I bet you can barely contain yourself. It's a beautiful country, but I hear certain parts can be dangerous, so make sure you be careful over there, okay, Pumpkin?
Hey, Barbara! Thanks a lot for the well wishes. Yeah, you betcha, I'm stoked. I appreciate the heads up. Thankfully, my husband's company apartment is in a really good neighborhood. We've always been our cautious types, so we were relieved when we found out. We'll make sure not to go wandering off into the dangerous spots or getting involved with any shady characters. Oh, and thanks again for everything with Mom. You guys are the best.
Don't mention it, sweetie. It's so good of you to cover all the costs for us. Your mom's in good hands, so you don't have to worry about one bit. Just focus on enjoying your time abroad, okay? Even if Rick's having a lazy slob day, I'll drive over on my own to make sure she's comfortable and has everything she needs.
Sorry again to trouble you like this. Ideally, me and my husband would have brought her to Thailand with us. But the prospect of shocking her like that by jetting her off to live in a foreign country at her age, as frail as she is, just made me too uncomfortable.
No kidding, she probably just wants to live out her days in peace and quiet. You're right, I think that kind of upheaval would be really hard on her. Not to mention her hospital appointments, I appreciate the sentiment, but taking her with you would be unrealistic on so many levels. On top of it all, there'd be the language barrier, the climate, having to meet new friends. She'd basically be starting life over from scratch. I feel sorry for her just thinking about it.
I plan on checking out a few of the nearby hospitals and finding out whether she'd be able to continue her treatment in Thailand, just in case for some reason it came to that. I don't know how feasible it would be, but it doesn't hurt to know. You never know what kind of curveball life's gonna throw at you, you know?
I admire your selflessness, Gabby. I truly do. But don't overdo it, okay? You're a human being with limits, just like the rest of us. It's your first time living abroad too, you know? You'll be starting over from scratch yourself. What's family for, if not looking out for one another? You've done your fair share of looking out for us, so now it's our turn. Me and Rick are officially taking responsibility for operations here in the States, and we're banning you from worrying about us or your mom until you're used to your new life in Thailand.
Okay, got it. You're right. Thanks so much, Barbara. We couldn't have done this without you. We'll have a time zone gap to contend with while we're there, but don't hesitate to get in touch if you need any advice or if anything's bothering you, no matter how small.
Roger that. Oh, before you go, I almost forgot about the money. Bank transfer, right? Would you mind sending it to my account?
Your bank account? Okay, no problem.
If Rick gets his hands on it, there's a chance he might run off to the casino and blow it all on the slots. The last thing we want is your mom's money vanishing into thin air. You'd probably have more peace of mind with me looking after it.
I hadn't thought about it, but actually you're right. I can only apologize eternally for how my brother is.
It's fine, I'm used to it now. I knew what I was getting myself into when I married him. Hope you have a safe flight, sweetie. Be careful over there, and have fun.
Alright, I'm going. See you on the other side. Good evening, Barbara. You there? Is now a good time?
I'm here. Sure, what's up, honey? Everything okay? Did something happen?
Oh, I've just been thinking about my mom and wanted to check up on her, see how she's doing. When I called just now, she seemed kind of not well. Her voice was weak. It was like she had no energy at all.
Huh? Really?
How does she seem to you?
I thought she was fine when I last went over. No different to her usual self. Ah, I wonder if she's putting on a bold front when I'm there so as not to worry me? Come to think of it, she's so thoughtful and conscientious. That's just the kind of thing she'd do. I'm not her real daughter after all. She probably feels guilty having me go out of my way to look after her.
Oh, no, it's not that. She was telling me about all the things you were doing for her and how happy she was to have you around helping her just the other week. She's so grateful. She said she'll never forgive what you've done for her.
Wow, she said that about me? I'm so happy to hear that. But as far as I could tell, she just seemed her normal self. Not exactly bursting with energy, but not particularly weak either, you know? Just normal.
I see.
Did your mom say anything?
It's not so much what she said, it was just kind of tension or a frail tiredness in her voice. She said she's doing just fine.
I see. I don't know whether I'll be much help, but I could go over to her house again tomorrow morning to check up on how she's doing.
Oh, would you really?
Of course, you're worried about her, right? Okay, it's settled. I'll drive over first thing in the morning for a check-in.
I'm so sorry to trouble you again, Barbara. I know it takes you over an hour to get there in the car. Of course, I'll cover any extra costs. My mom's the type to endure things in silence or overdo it on her own because she hates the idea of being a nuisance to others. So if her health is really deteriorating, I think there's a chance she might be hiding it.
If that's the case, I can't guarantee I'll be able to get to the bottom of it, but I'll at least head over and do my best.
That's fine, I understand. Her and Rick might be completely different, but one thing they do share is that they can both be stubborn as mules in their own ways. Thanks so much, Barbara. I don't know what I'd do without you.
Oh, stop it, silly. You're making me blush. It was me and Rick who agreed to look after her in the first place. This is the least I can do.
I was so shocked when I heard Rick was getting married. But that shock turned into relief when I found out how kind you are. He's lucky to have you by his side. If my brother ever causes you any problems, don't hesitate to get in touch, okay? I'll always be here to talk. I know what he's like. And I'm sure there are times when you consider strangling him.
Don't worry, I can read him like a book, and I have a knack for putting him in his place. When he tries getting up to his old tricks, I have a feeling he's mellowing out. I don't think he has the nerve to challenge me like he used to.
Wow, seriously? I'm surprised to hear that. It looks like my brother's in good hands then. Not to mention what you're doing for Mom. Words can't describe how grateful I am for you, Barbara. Oh, did you want something from Thailand? If you do, just say the word and I'll send it over. Don't hold back, you can have anything you want.
Wow, really? Well, actually, now that you mention it, I've been getting really interested in fashion and cosmetics lately. If it's no trouble, would you mind sending me over some Thai beauty products? I'll be so excited to see what they have over there.
Got it. I'll send you a parcel full of their most popular brands. If there's anything specific you got your eye on, just give me the name and it's yours.
Thank you. Okay, I'll do some research and get back to you. I'll let you know how your mom's doing after I check in tomorrow morning.
Okay, speak to you tomorrow.
Hey, Gabby, there's something I need to talk to you about. Is now a good time?
Sure, I'm just chilling at home. It's my day off today. What's up?
Listen, it's about the money.
Oh, no. Did my gambling-addicted brother get his hands on it somehow?
No, it's not that. Can you send me more money to look after your mom?
Huh? What? But I'm already sending you $1,000 a month, which includes money for her medical bills. Are you saying that's not enough?
Listen, Pumpkin, I didn't tell you this, but the thing is, your mom, she's been really selfish with me lately. The day before yesterday, she suddenly demanded that I go grab her a takeout from a top-of-the-range 5-star hamburger restaurant. She demands nothing but ultra-high-class luxury cuisine all the time, and we just can't keep up with it financially.
That's funny. My mom's been living with me and my husband since last week. Who the hell is asking you for luxury hamburgers?
Huh? Your mom's living with you in Thailand?
Yep.
What are you talking about? You're on the other side of the world. How's that even possible?
A few days after we last spoke about me being worried about how my mom sounded on the phone, she sent me a message begging me to help her.
What?
When I called her, she told me you and my brother had been stealing all of her money. She broke down in tears as she told me how you'd been abusing her and stealing things from the house.
Ridiculous. I've never heard such a load of nonsense in my life. You're joking, right?
Believe me, I wish I was joking. I'm so disgusted with you, Barbara. To think I trusted you.
Gabby, no, you've got all this wrong, I swear. I was looking after her probably at first, just like you asked. I did my best, I really did, but it turns out me and your mother just don't get along very well. You wouldn't believe how horrible she was to me. You'd think I was a piece of dirt on her shoe rather than her son's wife.
You mean my frail, aged mother who wouldn't hurt a fly and would sooner suffer in silence than cause inconvenience to others? Is this the same person we're talking about?
Maybe she's like that with you because you're her real daughter, but with me, she's cruel, malicious, and abusive. It's like there's this big black storm cloud of dread hanging over me every time on the drive over. I'm afraid to see her now. Rick saw how she was treating me and couldn't bear it, so he lost his temper with her. She's probably angry that your brother actually had the courage to stand up to her. So she put on the frail old lady act and called you in tears to try and turn you against us. I mean, come on, ask yourself. Is there any proof that we've been doing any of the things she says we have?
I thought you might ask me that, which is why I made sure to get hold of some. To answer your question, yes, there is proof. Mountains of it.
Huh?
After we spoke on the phone, I told her to start recording your visits in secret. Lo and behold, the very first one showed you rummaging through her cabinets for money. Then, as if that wasn't reprehensible enough, you upped the ante and started hitting her, threatening to do it harder if she didn't hand over her checkbook and give you her signature. I was so furious, I felt like throwing up when I watched the video. You are one wicked, disturbed individual, Barbara.
But that's only one side of the story. Your mom did the same things to me first. Of course you won't know about that because I don't have a video. You only saw the video she wanted you to see. Your mom's wicked and disturbed too.
You can drop the act already. My brother already admitted it, that you stole my mom's money.
No way! He wouldn't do that. We're innocent. Why would he admit to something we didn't do?
It's just like you said. Rick doesn't have the nerve to challenge you. That's why my mom settled all his debts for him after he told her they were from him getting in over his head at the casino. But they weren't, were they? They were yours. He told me everything about how you forced him to do everything with violence and threats of more violence on top of it. Now, I'm not gonna go making excuses for my brother, because he did stand by and watch it all happen. But in a sense, he's a victim in all this too.
Gabby, I can't get through to Rick. What's going on? He's not answering my calls. Do you know anything about this?
My brother's staying in a facility for male victims of domestic abuse to escape your sickening reign of terror. Oh yeah, he went in today. That's probably why he's unreachable. Something tells me he won't be coming home to see you again.
He's staying where? But what the hell am I supposed to do now? What about me?
What about you? Well, I don't know about my brother, but I'm pressing charges against you for laying hands on our mom. I have mountains of evidence. The video I mentioned earlier is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm currently in the process of hiring a lawyer.
No, Gabby, wait, please, don't! You can't take me to court, we're family. Surely we should just be able to talk this out like adults instead of blowing it up into some big legal drama. This isn't a TV show, don't be so horrible.
The only horrible person here is you. You subjected my mom and brother to unimaginable suffering with your wicked campaign of abuse. And mark my words, you will pay dearly. You have the nerve to say I'm horrible for standing up to you? Cut the crap. One more thing, me and you are not family.
I'm so sorry, I've never intended to hit your mom like that. Things just got out of control and well, it kinda just happened. It's just, well, I was in trouble financially. I was desperate. I didn't know what to do or who to turn to. I asked your mom if she could help me out a little. Not much, you know, just enough to keep me afloat, but she refused.
So you hit her. Not only is your alleged reason the most selfish thing I've ever heard, but even if she did refuse to give you the money, that doesn't give you the right to hit her. Who the hell do you think you are?
Gabby, I'm so sorry. This will never happen again, I swear.
Obviously it won't. That's why I had my mom flown over to live with me and my husband here in Thailand, so she wouldn't have to spend one more second in the company of a psychopath like you. Who knows what you would have done next? I shudder to think. You're sick, dangerous, and unpredictable, and I feel terrible for leaving my mother in your care. That's why I waited until she was safely in my care to get started with the court proceedings.
I'm begging you, please, don't take me to court. Anything but court. What do I have to do to change your mind? You're right, I'm all the things you say. I acted wrongly, and I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Do you seriously think I can forgive someone who physically abused, exploited, manipulated, and stole money from my elderly mother? You must actually be insane.
I understand you're upset, but please, I'm on my last chance.
Huh? Your last chance?
Listen, I never told you this, but I'm already on a suspended sentence right now, so please reconsider. If I get in trouble again, they'll throw me in jail. I'm begging you here, please, I'm desperate. I've already lost my husband. Would you really see me lose my freedom as well?
Yes. Yes, I would. Gladly. In fact, I'd love nothing more. I mean, please, are you seriously trying to play the victim in all this? I hope they find you a good psychiatrist in prison, because you need help. You're the one in the wrong here, and you only have yourself to blame.
Please forgive me, I'm begging you. I'll do anything, anything. Gabby, please.
If you'll do anything, why don't you head over to the police station right now and tell them exactly what you did? And let me make this clear. Neither me nor my brother have any intention of forgiving you. Not now, not ever. Thanks for telling me you're on a suspended sentence, though. I have a feeling that info's gonna come in really handy when we meet the judge. I'll see to it that you pay for the pain and suffering you caused my family if it's the last thing I do. My sister-in-law was rearrested after admitting to committing acts of violence against my elderly mother. It turns out that she'd been domestically abusing my brother since long before that, hitting him with such force there were even times where she broke bones. I found out during the court case that one of the neighbors had heard the commotion and called the police, and she was arrested after being caught in the act. Me and my mom never had a clue. Eventually, my brother finally came clean about everything. He said Barbara had been irresponsible with money ever since they started dating, was quick to anger, and became violent at the slightest hint of trouble. He considered breaking up with her on several occasions, but he was so afraid of her that he didn't dare broach the subject, and he was essentially forced into a marriage with a controlling psychopath he was terrified of. I'm not sure I'll ever forgive him for standing by and doing nothing as his psychotic wife abused my mom. But I do understand that he was petrified of standing up to her, afraid of how she might retaliate. There's no doubt about it. He spent years of his life in abject terror. Besides, I have to be honest too. I'm the one who left my mom in her care in the first place, so some of the responsibility lies with me. I'm filled with regret when I think about how if I'd never asked Barbara to look after my mom, none of this would have ever happened. My mom, on the other hand, is framing this whole thing in a positive light. She said that if this didn't happen, my brother might still be living in quiet desperation as her helpless victim. I don't think I'll ever forgive my ex-sister-in-law for what she did, but I do hope she uses her time in prison to think about her actions, and at the very least shows us enough respect to stay out of our lives forever when she's released. Ever since this whole dramatic episode, me and my husband have been living with my mom in peace and quiet out in the picturesque Thai countryside. Luckily, I managed to find a hospital that could provide the same treatment as she'd been getting in the States, so she managed to adapt to her new life more or less without issue. I don't know if it's due to the climate here, but to my surprise, she's been more lively and energetic than I've seen her in decades since moving over. Naturally, my brother divorced his deranged tyrant of a wife, and now he's living in another state, as far away from her as possible. Rick apologized to me after the court case, and lately we've been doing regular video calls to update each other on how we're doing. With his ex-wife out of the picture, we're closer than we've ever been. He doesn't talk about her much, but I have a feeling the reason he became distant after they got married might have been his way of protecting us from her. I know I'll never know for sure, but that's what I want to believe. With she who shall not be named finally locked away where she belongs, me and my family can finally start making up for lost time. Let the good times roll.